for either of these teams. TSM Phoenix1 back into Champion Select for game number 2. And this is kind of the interesting thing about this portion of the draft, at least. The blue side usually informs more of what they want to be doing as far as target bans. Yes, some strong champions are usually taken away, but, you know, Maokai is a decent champion. A lot of teams are playing it, but it's, you know, not a specifically standard ban that we'd see on the red side. So TSM have a little more to play with here. Yeah,
we just saw Phoenix1 actually ban Maokai on blue side before, showing that they don't really want to pick it. They don't want to have to, you know, deal with that in Hanser's hands, and TSM are actually doing the same.
Yeah, we saw Rise again. That's another common sort of blue side ban. You don't always want to first pick it, but you don't usually want to give it away. This is the kind of ban I was talking about, though. Taking Varus away from Arrow.
Yeah, and like Freak was saying, best Varus in the league at the moment. I would agree with him that Arrow is definitely right now showing that he's the best with that skill shot accuracy, the chain of corruption, hitting that time and time again, and then just the consistency in which he's able to land the piercing arrow on one person, let alone sometimes two, and chunk them out of the lane. Gives them a lot of room in the lane.
Well, TSM, where are they going for this next ban here? Taking their time with it, certainly. Actually, I'm going to go with Jay, so we want to keep that out of Phoenix1's hands. This leaves kind of Rise as the ban that was on Phoenix1's side that isn't taken away here. But Phoenix1 also kind of know that we probably should ban Rengar. So if Phoenix1 ban Rengar, I'm curious to see if TSM want Kha'Zix or they want Rise, because they will not get both, depending on what happens here in the last one.
Some people are okay with giving up Rise because of the fact that they can play Cassiopeia into it and have an okay time. But the Realm Warps that Bjergsen was able to pull off, you either leave both up and you get Kha'Zix in return for the Rengar, and there you go.
Yeah, and that's the trade they're going to make here. I kind of like these bans from TSM. Phoenix1 waited a long time to kind of make their bans happen. I think they were debating what to do here, but this is an obvious first pick Rengar for TSM. Phoenix1 don't have either Camille or LeBlanc to take, but they can do some other things here as well.
I think it's an interesting trade for Phoenix1 because of the fact that if Rengar is banned, they take Kha'Zix, and then you're left with things like Rek'Sai and a little bit down the tier list, Lee Sin, etc. So what Phoenix1 are saying is, you know, we at least want a jungler that Inori can hard carry on, build damage, where Lee Sin, he'll build tanky halfway through his build, right? Rek'Sai is pretty much tanky from the get-go.
Yeah, and Phoenix1, kind of knowing this, might look to take the jungler third pick here in this phase. Jhin and Corki will be the lock-ins for Phoenix1, so another blind pick. Corki for Ryu. Rise, of course, not available, but Cassio looked just fine, at least in the lane for Bjergsen. Maybe the map mobility isn't really as there. It's a little unsafer to go into those side lanes, so we'll see if Bjergsen wants to adjust his pick, but he's got pretty deep pockets as far as champions go, and TSM do have some more picks to make here. Seen a little bit of this. We'll see if Shen is the next pick for Hauntzer.
This could be a TSM teamfight composition with an Orianna coming through as well as the Ashe. I think the Orianna would be what they would want to gravitate towards in that mid lane. It does okay into Corki, and then you have the ball composition with the Rengar jumping in.
Well, hand seems pretty forced here for Phoenix1, though. I like what TSM are doing. Again, mid laners, particularly Bjergsen, and the role in general right now has a lot of champions you can fall to. They take the Kha'Zix, which they kind of have to, because TSM will 100% use a ban on it if they don't take it.
Yeah, very much so. Definitely in that top tier, that top echelon of junglers. And now the bans begin towards that mid lane here in Phoenix1. What do they predict is coming out? Because they don't have to ban supports if they're first picking their support.
10 seconds. Phoenix1, I mean, Adrian's also been playing lots of Nami, which is pretty different. So maybe he doesn't care that much about the support echelon. Syndra's going to be banned here, at least for the first one.
So I think what they do is you ban mid laners if you're Phoenix1, then you first pick, or first round in your second phase, your top laner, because you see the Shen, and then you pick your support, knowing what you're going up against. Could be the Zyra. Expect another mid lane ban to come through here.
Yeah, Phoenix1 probably going to keep picking on Bjergsen for a little while longer. And TSM, they banned the Tahm Kench again. It's good into the Ashe. They'll look good with her, but
yeah, all right,
predicting them to play it. And there's that expected Orianna ban.
They were able to smell it there. Figure out, okay, they want to play the Orianna. They want that ball delivery system with the Rengar.
And there's Gangplank banned again, so
good into Shen.
Yep, that makes sense. Taking that one away from Zeke, who, like you mentioned, did have that in their Game 3 win last year versus TSM when they played that series. But what's the pick here for Phoenix1?
If you want to go really hard, you pick Fiora, or you pick Nautilus if you're just going to be, tank top. You could pick Poppy to try and stop the Shadow Dash and also the Rengar jumping in, but the Nautilus just has more lane priority.
Hurts the Immobile 80 carry as well, so Zeke going to take tank v tank this time, as far as the matchup goes. And TSM banning one support at least, kind of leaving this pick pretty late. Of course, they have to round out their team comp here, so they'll finish off the draft. But kind of interesting to see what Biofrost wants to do on support. And then, of course, how we finish off that mid laner as well. So where is TSM going? Looks like Karma for this pick. Just going to run down the clock. Make sure they have maximum time to let the drafts fall in. And then what's Bjergsen's pick here? He knows his mid lane matchup pretty much assuredly. It's going to be that Corki for Ryu. Does he go back to Cassio? Like you said, he probably wanted Orianna, but it's not going to get it. So
I think Cassio would be great here. You have movement speed increase. Oh, okay. So double teleport. So what TSM are saying is you guys actually out-roamed us, out-pressured us, had more 1-3-1 pressure. So now TSM are saying we're going to have the Shen split push with the 2 globals. We're going to have the Rengar go between the 2 lanes. We're going to have the Ashe for picking. And we're going to have another teleport for Bjergsen in the mid lane. And the Assassin definitely is something you don't want to 1v1 in that bottom side of the map or on the top side.
And I think it explains the support pick as well. More defensive, more mobility-oriented instead of teamfight-oriented.
Yeah, because when we say 1-3-1, that 3 has to have some type of disengage to get away if a larger number of enemies actually come in on them. So the Karma with the mantra and the shield, able to get everybody away, speed them up as they try to run out.
Yeah, and Zyra the last pick for Phoenix1, so okay. Pretty obvious what the plan is there. I mean, they can't see the summoner spell, so they've got a pretty good idea of what's going on. And Adrian will take the teamfight support Zyra this time. So kind of interesting. We're going to see an even more polarizing clash of styles. Last game, pretty similar comps for both teams, and it played out in a similar way for a while. TSM going to over-index on map mobility and macro play. This time on P1, the response sort of has to be to out-teamfight them now. So we're going to get to see something we've seen for quite a while, pretty much through the history of League of Legends, is one team wants to split push, the other team wants to force as many fights as possible because they expect to have a map advantage at almost every time.
Yep, and almost everybody on the team from Phoenix1, almost every champion there can pick or force a team fight to begin with an ability that catches somebody out. So when you're 1-3-1ing, getting caught is a big problem, but they do have the Shen to back that up and the Ashe Arrow that's global. So you do have to actually be worried. For both teams, nobody really comes out of this draft being like, all right, we got a way better composition to play to in terms of win condition. But I think TSM's angle is a little bit easier to actually execute on. Normally, I don't say that about 1-3-1s, but 2 teleports, an Ashe Arrow, and another global that gets you in definitely makes that quite easy.
Yeah,
so Phoenix1 has pressure.
Yeah, certainly do. And if TSM felt tested last game, kind of being run around the map, they're going to feel that even more so. So interesting comps. I think junglers, as always, going to have a look in. A little more pacifist fence Garrett on the Rex side in game 1. Honori runs it back with the Kha'Zix. But Rengar is the champion that does not often let through. They certainly aren't going to give it to Honori. Honori has played against it a number of times. So P1 say, we've won game 1. Maybe feel comfortable giving you this one. And if Sven can have a big Rengar game, that's huge, because there's a reason it's almost always banned on red side.
And Rengar has some great comeback as well. If he's able to, get off the ground, that's great. He can snowball. But if he gets behind, I mean, he's not completely out of the game at almost any point.
Certainly not. Svenskeren, we'll see what he can get done here. Lots of farming in the early stages of level 1, so I don't expect the early game to be filled with too much action, but we'll see if either team changes their tune. Bjergsen's just having some fun, dancing around. Everyone's just hiding in bushes right now for TSM. Both teams fanned out, making sure they can see whatever's going on. And looks like Adrian's not too far forward either, so seeds won't spawn in that further part of the lane. Biofrost camping that bottom bush for now. Sven and Honori got into a scuffle last game. Looks like they'll just chill out this time.
Yeah, I mean, if you get into a scuffle against a Rengar who can just constantly gap close on you as you're running away, it feels bad. So he'd be able to charge up the Q quite quickly, especially since now when Rengar gets an auto attack or a leap on somebody and he has 0 ferocity, he actually gains a stack for free.
See what happens with the lane matchup in mid lane, but we'll get to that in a second. Biofrost getting hit. Tried to step on a seed. Adrian's going to make him pay. That plant will wear out. And there's another one again. Feels bad, man. Get your garden stepped on.
Oh, man. Ruined my day. Speaking of gardens, poor Blasco. Still, the top side, we see it typically leashed because of the fact that you want to posture in the bottom lane like that, rush level 2. And with the jungle spawning a little bit later at 140 instead of 137 in patch 7.2, we will almost never see bottom side leashed unless there's a special occasion of an invade or you have an Ivern.
Biofrost winning the early trades though. And actually do have a Doran's Blade here for Wild Turtle. Longsword for Arrow, which is to be expected, but it was into Ashe. Is the reason people started doing it. Ooh, plants everywhere, Turtle. Maybe not thinking those would both be in range, but he actually ate a Thunderlord's proc and the plant damage there. So early trading was interesting last game. Arrow and Adrian certainly seem to have the lane advantage. We'll see if that continues now that TSM bottom lane has, pretty stable, pretty safe and strong bottom lane for themselves.
And stable, it has that ability to just shove. but trade very heavily. They do have more potions for arrow, and this is kind of the debate between the longsword 3 potion and the Doran's Blade 1 potion. If you have access to the minion wave, then Doran's Blade could be better because you don't make anything of lifesteal if you're zoned off, but with supports like Zyra that have the range to just zone you off of the minion wave, then 3 potions is usually what people want to go for, because the fact they don't actually have to have control of the wave. Oh my god, he wants to fight him in half.
Doesn't have red buff though, and Nori's just going to leave.
He dipped out of vision, he's going to try to get the slow.
Bjergsen zoning away, but that's a flash from Svenskeren. Ryu now fighting it in, and he's flash over Svenskeren. W is enough healing, needs a little more. There's the auto attack for Ryu, and first blood as Bjergsen dies back in, but Ryu stays alive. Biofrost here though, good little roam, but Adrian's also come up. This could be a disaster early for TSM, but Biofrost backs away.
Ryu makes it out, and he has the blue buff on top of it. Bjergsen still has priority here though, because he has the fact that he has the flash, and he also has the TP, so he'll be able to come back. But Svenskeren, oh boy.
Didn't have a red buff and wanted to fight for Scuttle.
And that's the thing, he didn't have red buff. So now Inori knows, hey, he didn't do bottom side of the jungle. We're ready to go here.
Biofrost, net up, no good flashes. Turtle now the target, and Nori just lets it rip.
Yep, just trying to get damage on him. Knows he doesn't have those 3 potions. Gonna have to pop that 1, and there isn't a Nami to sustain here. Look at that, though.
I mean, he's trying for it. Nori's like, yeah, I'm taking this Scuttle crowd. What are you doing about it?
Oh, he saw the ferocity fall off. That's what made him turn. He saw the 4 ferocity in the stacks of Svenskeren, where Rengar is his most powerful, actually just fall off, and he's like, all right, I'm going in. No fear. Inori against Svenskeren and Bjergsen as a combo, he does not care. He's just going to play the game the way he likes to play it.
And like we said, he's a known Rengar player, was playing it last year, and now Rengar's completely in vogue. If there's ever a player that's going to notice the little things like that in those skirmish situations, it's going to be Inori. So Sven, he thought he was out, I think, with the W heal, but not this time. And that's a pretty big advantage early on for P1. They get the first blood. They're about 500 gold ahead, and Turtle and Biofrost are still dealing with Zyra plants.
Yeah, constantly having to deal with them. Mid lane, though, Ryu, it comes back with a Hex Drinker. So making sure that he's just got a good matchup up against Bjergsen and Inori. Ducking in and out of the brush, just pushing him away. This is the weird thing. He doesn't even have priority mid lane. Ryu is at the turret, and Bjergsen's like halfway up the lane. He's still pushing up. That is actually crazy, because you could be punished very heavily for that, but he doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's the right move.
Well, not quite level 6 yet. Bjergsen be a lot harder to catch, once he does have his ultimate ready. But it's been landing nicely. A little bit of a CS lead there. Couldn't quite turn around the exchange that happened. So instead, again, Bjergsen's going to play safe, use the Echo Q to farm up wherever he can, and looks like Toto went back for a Warhammer, interestingly.
Yeah, Essence Reaver,
yeah.
Which then begs the question of why wasn't the longsword start, but he does just want to sustain off of the minion wave. Svenskeren top, though, actually didn't.
Walter could make it happen. Red buff's in, going to leap forward, flash from Zig.
Yeah, Svenskeren, normally if you're in combat and you can use your ferocity and you use your Q, even if you don't hit anything, it'll generate a stack. It looked like he was just either trying to close the gap or use the cooldown there to try and get a ferocity stack, but it didn't work out for him there because he was out of combat. But he does get the flash out of the top laner.
Level 6 for both these mid laners as well. Inori looking around. It looks like he just wants to steal away the jungle, so we'll try and take the Raptor camp away from Svenskeren, who we just saw in that top lane. Smart stuff again from Inori. Taking a lot of damage here from these Raptors, but kind of knows that his mid lane is there to protect him just in case.
Leaves 1 up.
What a jerk.
Maybe 2. All right. And leaves him up, so that's only 20 gold to pick up. Very low experience. And that means he also doesn't really plan to re-jungle that quadrant later. Doesn't have the jungle dominance just yet, especially against a Rengar. It becomes risky, so it's an opportunistic instead of one that he plans to repeat.
Level 3 Zyra, though, sneaking into the red buff. Gets a control word down. That was quite a journey from Adrian, but does manage to slip in there. Good control word, little trio from P1, controlling that right-hand side. In the meantime, Bjergsen still pushing in. Has himself a nice little landing CS lead, but Ryu, not too bothered, just going to take what he can. Huh? TSM going to need to collapse for a play, perhaps, although they have evened up the gold for now.
Yeah. 4 people kind of gathered around mid lane. Wild Turtle's going to go back down bottom. He's actually by himself right now. So we'll have to play it safe. It looks like it might be a Tri-Brush ward that they want to get out here. They find the control ward. So everybody just kind of runs mid, provides some wards. Zig, no, he's going to have to slow.
I didn't see what happened, but guess who got taunted into a turret?
Yep.
It was Zig.
It might just be just the fact that the Shen does so much damage with the grasp and the percent HP of the Q. And if you're able to interrupt the Q, then Nautilus just kind of has a long, slow, sluggish journey back to the turret. So he gets pushed out of lane again. No teleport. The last 2 times that's happened to Zig.
It's kind of the some of the things about Shen that feels a bit strange, but I think if you play a lot of him, and Zig, you know, we saw game 1, very experienced top laner on the champion, he's actually surprisingly good in lane.
Yeah, he's actually quite good in lane on these tanks, but this is a matchup that's not working out for him, and Inori counter jungling the blue when his top laner doesn't have priority, and his back and his mid laner doesn't either. This is just...
And evolving right there.
Yeah, I can't tell if this is just like he saw Svenskeren on the other side of the map, or if that's just he has the instinct of he's going to be on that side. It's just the timing.
I saw an exclamation mark ping from TSM.
Like,
clearly a little unhappy. Svenskaren's like, come on, man, this guy's in my jungle. That's my job.
I'm the Rengar. This isn't supposed to happen.
Happening right now, Inori just had such kind of a good flurry of jungle performances. Maybe recently against Dardoch wasn't too happy with himself, but this game certainly against Svenskeren, who arguably was the best jungler coming into the split.
They're trying to get him back now. They're trying to say, hey, you took our blue buff on top side. We're getting control of yours on the bottom side here.
Rengar ulti, who they want. It's actually Bjergsen leaping onto Inori. That's going to force the flash. Arrow goes wide, but good attempt from Turtle, forcing out the summoner.
Yep, but they also got Bjergsen's summoner for that as well. So he flashed to try and get the stun, and Inori had to flash the wall. Does the open up.
Snared again, they need to block the shots here. We're going to get burned.
Ryu's coming from the other side, though. They're actually flanking Turtle.
Inori. Bjergsen needs to cover for his teammates. Last bullet lands on a Bifrost. Turtle forced to flash. Svenskeren still there. Inori leaps in, but it's just more poke from P1.
So close to taking out Turtle there. Almost gets him. But now they have to back, and that's their blue buff. I believe it's still safe. It's still up, and they'll be able to hand that to Ryu.
Nice little play there from P1. TSM overreach for the pick, knowing that it's secured on the buff, and instead don't quite lose anyone, but won't counter jungle the blue. Ryu gonna get it at pretty much 0 mana.
Yep. Oh, dive possibly coming in top here. Zig, no mana, barely any HP.
Gives it up. Wave wasn't pushed up.
Yep, wave wasn't pushed up, you're right.
But this is good from Bjergsen. We kind of expected him to be more roam heavy on the Echo and try and influence the other lanes. His lane matchup is just fine. Echo doesn't really win that many matchups 1v1, but if he can get lane priority, push out, and then influence other areas of the map, Bjergsen thinks maybe that's the best way to push our team to a win this game.
Yeah, and last time that Bjergsen had actually played the Echo in competitive play was summer of 2015. So it's been a long time since he's actually touched that champion and played it in this setting. Oh, it's like riding a bike, though. You get right back on. He's definitely practiced on this as well.
Again, talking about deep pockets, Bjergsen is one of the players with very deep mid lane pockets.
Well, you can't do a pocket pick with him because he's like, it's all the champions. But I do think that this teleport will be coming into play more frequently as the game progresses, of course. He hasn't really used it for gigantic trades with Ryu, and then teleporting back to lane just to get a good buy. He's just kind of holding on to it.
I think sort of reinforcing the amount of map mobility and presence he wants to show. In the meantime, Haunter getting his lanes pushed in, but Shen does last it well into Tara, and kind of troublesome for Zig because he's falling pretty far behind in CS. He's actually 25, approaching 30 CS behind right now. Yeah,
and looks like he's like roaming mid to just get some vision down. And I talked about like the pick versus the Poppy for the Nautilus. Having the Nautilus instead of it means that he has priority in the lane, and another catch on the Wild Turtle. But yeah, he has priority in the lane because of his wave clear. So the Shen, every time we look up there and Zig is getting chunked out, it's from Shen's part of the map onward. He's just getting pushed under turret, but Shen is actually picking up those CS. So good on Hanser there, whereas Zig struggling a little bit in that lane to actually finish off those minions.
Plants don't give it away. Bifrost sweeps. Gonna step, he doesn't want to step over them. Oh no, he
got gold though, so yep.
All right, Svenskeren gets mad, kills the plants. Wild Animal ravages Adrian's beautiful garden. Caught in top lane. Hanser still winning these trades with Zig. Zig gonna try and make it back happen. Caster Creep's doing work. Inori coming up as well. And maybe looking for a dive, actually.
It would be hard to dive the Shen.
I agree.
But it would
especially with a teleport Echo.
Exactly. I would say it's easier to do than dive pretty much anybody else on this map, though. If you dive the Echo, he snaps back. The Shen uses the ultimate. But Inori going for the invade has jungle item completed, Hunter's Potion. Doesn't have the boots that the Rengar does, so this is actually quite risky that Inori's here. TP from Bjergsen. I believe, no, yes it is. TP from Bjergsen. They're trying to collapse on Inori because he's spotted from the Rengar ult.
I like this play a lot. Inori getting chunked already. They can't still see him though, and now Ryu's actually running with the package. Bjergsen gonna get stand united in. Haunter gonna join him. Ulti's away, and actually gets a kill. Fade away onto Inori.
Yeah, and I said it earlier. What is Inori doing? He's invading when they don't have priority in their lanes, and when they don't have the proper positioning either. like, before it was risky, and I was like, is that right or not? And now that's definitely wrong. He's definitely being a little bit too greedy.
Yeah, greed is the right word for it here. As Bjergsen had 3 people in his lane briefly, but he'll collect a CS as Arrow and Adrian were moving in to respond to the play, while Turtle...
Oh, TP from behind. He's actually running towards the other side, away from the Nautilus.
Doesn't have too much else to do. Biofrost's going to try and get away, but Depth Chart's going to be committed. That should be a kill for Adrian. Flashes in for the snap. Biofrost down. Where's Turtle? Oh, he hits the dodge away. Execute. Well done, Wild Turtle.
The only time that you can actually say kill yourself and it's not Flame. He got away with it. Make sure that he dies to the turret. Doesn't give away gold, but he does actually give away a death timer because of the positioning. And now it's a race for that first turret. Inori on the top side. Can't really protect this Zig on the bottom. Rengar will come up and try to assist in the turret taking here. I think P1 does actually have momentum. They are a little bit ahead.
Should win the race here. 3 versus 1 or 2. Numbers advantage looking good. So first turret is going to go over. Arrow. Yep, commits for the last auto. And they'll share some gold. This top turret will be traded, though. It's actually not very unhealthy.
Yeah, it will go down, though. It'll take a little bit longer, but it will go down. And that's the thing, is the option for P1 would be to continue pushing. Ryu, though.
That was a proto belt there from Bjergsen, so a prime position for an all-in. Inori still going to cover his mid laner, though, and Bjergsen, kind of knowing all that, just going to play back safe. Couldn't land the stun, so he doesn't go all in for that kill. And there's that top turret we expected. So equal in turrets. P1 will go up slightly in gold as a result, but 400 gold is not really too much.
Yep. Oh, Inori goes over. He's actually going to see Svenskeren here. And hello, level 9. He's definitely happy to fight this.
I don't want this. Svenskeren going to flash away. Blast cone. Oh!
He clay pigeoned him. He got him in the air.
With the claws. Inori now going to look to counter jump with a blue buff again. Svenskeren's Rengar just hasn't been able to find too much here. Inori, I mean, Kha'Zix is the big 1v1 jungler. We know there's a rivalry between the champions, but Inori's won every exchange.
Yeah, he's like, oh, level 8, I got this. Jumps in, so much damage, and is forced to actually use it. And the way that that works is the Q actually just registers and starts no matter what. That's why he can actually do some things like Q and jump away and do a double jump. There's some double jump mechanics with Kha'Zix with like really experienced players in one tricks where you can start the Q as you're jumping away, he'll turn around, end it, and then he can leap again because it resets. It's pretty sick.
Again, auto attacks, unless you move out of vision, are going to complete. So Inori gets the fadeaway blast cone. It's kind of like a dunk, actually.
It's that, the Taste of Fear, it's the Q.
Yeah.
That'll start like that. It's kind of coded that way, you're right.
Svenskeren, not too much right now. In fact, Ryu and Bjergsen, as is now tradition, I suppose, moving down to their respective side lanes. Much better setup for a side lane mid laner this time for Bjergsen. I joked, I think on Friday, about side lane Cassio from Ryu, which did work out for P1. But Bjergsen just feels comfy here. Maybe look for a dive. Actually, Hans's going to join him. Flash forward, Stand United ready. There's the taunt. And there's the exhaust is down as well, but that should be enough for the kill. And there's Svenskeren to clean it up.
Yeah, the Rengar comes through. They're going to try to get this turret and actually get an advantage here for TSM, but they're just going to push it out. There's a deep dive, but no punish.
Good response there from P1, but TSM are grouped together for the Ocean Drake that's up now. Might have to take that objective instead of the turret they may have wanted, but P1 going to be down a man for 15 seconds.
Okay, so Turtle actually comes through. It looked like Jin Arrow was possibly thinking about opening up on him. This may be a full-on.
Ooh, Inori's going to be the taunt. That's a kill for Hansa. Stranglethorn's committed, only knocks up 2. That should be Drake TSM.
Yep, and there's no chance of a smite steal there, so they actually just back off. All 5 members of TSM able to actually make a great macro play there. Turtle shoved up the mid. The bottom was an engage from Bjergsen onto Ryu, but he had people collapsing. The Stand United. This Shen, we're seeing it more and more. It is so popular now because of the fact that those double globals. It's so funny whenever Shen is out of the meta. You're just like, why? The macro potential of him is just so good. He covers options like no other top laner.
Well, it's looking good in both the games we've seen it so far. And it's good to see TSM being more proactive on the plays. Bjergsen calling for the dive mid lane with the help from Hansa. These are the sorts of plays they can make.
You're right, exactly. You were talking about how, be a little bit more aggressive. And that's what he does here. Pushes the wave up. Ryu already chunked to half because he had eaten the Time Winder previously. Now Bjergsen makes connection with the E. Flashes forward just to extend Hanser forward. And Ryu doesn't have anything left there.
Svenskeren secures the kill.
Extra stab there. It's like, I mean, I actually think that's the right person to give it over to. Bjergsen already has a kill. He already has an advantage. We saw that he can destroy Ryu in a one-on-one. But you want to give it to the person who's been getting a little bit clobbered in his one-on-one matchup in the jungle. I think that the Rengar are now a little bit more even with the Kha'Zix.
And 2-1 might be okay, but Inori was in the lane briefly, and I said, I don't think you want to fight the level 12 Echo, even as Kha'Zix, who's very good 1v1. So he gives that up. He's going to give the lane back to Ryu, but Ryu is behind in CS by about 20, and Bjergsen's actually going to extend that lead as he starts to push this wave towards the top tier 2 turret. So lane assignments seem good for TSM this time around. They've kind of got that tank v tank matchup that I think they missed last time around with Haunter not being able to get the lead on Jace. And that's going to cover Svenskeren. He's had a bit of a rough early game. But looking at that gold, pretty much even. So it's going to be once again about the map play. Very close game first 20 minutes, much like the first one.
And Inori's just such a bold player when he plays, and we're seeing the hubris sometimes of his actions that it's hard to get a read on him. You're like, okay, this what a jungler would do is they would do this. They would do this. Okay, he counter jungle that side. Now he will be on this side of the map. Inori doesn't actually abide by most junglers' rules. It's a little erratic and hard to predict where he's going to be. And the fact that TSM were able to catch him out was great when they were able to find him on the other side. But you can see he's up in levels right now.
Might fight. Uh-oh, didn't go well. Svenskeren going to get chopped. Stranglethorn's not enough. Inori's blown up though. Bjergsen going all into the backline, but has to ulti back. Doesn't get over the wall, and now Zig's going to cut him off. Bjergsen
Sven looking for Inori.
Bjergsen's going to be taken down, but Inori goes down to Sven on the flank. Haunter looks for the flash torn, doesn't quite connect onto Arrow, but Sven has some brushes to start leaping forward, and Bjergsen resets up the W as Haunter is tanking all the damage. TSM, they only got one kill, but they'll take it.
And Inori, he went back in for that. He actually could have just walked all the way away, but he was spotted by the Rengar ultimate, and it will crit you when he comes out of it. It'll also give him vision. Inori tried to outplay it. That would have been really interesting if he was able to do so. And we'll watch it again, because he has his ultimate up, he has a charge left, and what he tries to do is he tries to actually cloak himself afterwards. So you can be spotted even when you're invisible by the Rengar ultimate. But what he does, if we do it in slow motion here, is he jumps in, he cloaks, but the crit still hits him. Remove vision, and then he's killed by the Q on the side. So the Q hits side, and it's an arc forward. And he got just clipped by it, just barely.
And P1 boys, a couple summoners get themselves out again. Don't lose anything else there. Turret's actually staying the same, so only lost a kill, which is the minimum for P1. The TSM starting to play up, get that vision down, and play more aggressive. They know they've got the tools to initiate a fight and the pressure with the Shen in that side lane. So making stuff happen here in this game. It's funny. I said either outthink them or outfight them. They're kind of doing both with this draft.
Yeah, they're doing both for sure. They have the ability to move around the map a little bit better. The double teleport and the multiple globals of TSM give them that map mobility. They're also outthinking them too. They're contesting their buffs when they're stronger. And Inori there, like I said, he's kind of erratic and no idea why he went back in.
I mean, aggressively minded player, very strong-headed is Inori.
Do it for the highlight reel.
And that was kind of the play he talked about. Trying to outplay Rengar, gets himself killed instead. The only death in that fight. I mean, certainly calculated aggression. He is a good thinking player as well, but he will always favor the aggressive play rather than the defensive play.
Yeah, he can be a hero, right? That's the thing about him is he's clutch, right? Inori is a clutch player. He can come up big, and sometimes you need them to open up the game for you to actually just allow your team to have the lead. Otherwise, you just sit on your hands. Inori's not the type of player that's down.
Oh, Stranglethorn's not enough. Good little outplay there from the ulti by Echo. Gets some healing out as well. Turret, though, will stay up for Phoenix1. Haunter, though, working on a bit of extra gold advantage. Dancing around the turret, but it goes down somehow.
Yeah, the Tiamat helps him clear out those waves, and then the fact that he has both globals up, Zig doesn't have a single one. This is the worst situation to be in as a top laner versus Shen, because Shen just keeps pushing bottom, and then now you have to push up, and this bait could be from TSM, where if they have Svenskeren ulti, could be a backline threat here.
They're going to Zig, stun follows as well, and now Svenskeren's looking for a squishy. Who does he want? Eats a Jin trap at Zig, who's going to get caught down and killed. Sven still looking, good snare from Adrian, nice follow-up from Arrow. But TSM, they make the play.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, this is a bait because Zig, because he doesn't have globals, he has to force something as a 5-man unit, or else Haunter goes to your tier 2, and he claims your tier 2 turret. You at least got the Stand United out of him. Now he has the TP still, so now he can go back to split pushing, he can go back to doing what he just did. And Zig will be able to match him, though, and hold on.
Good flash, Sven. Didn't get tagged by anything else, so Snare not connecting there for Jin. TSM might have to give up this outer turret, so P1 looking to stay around longer. It's aggressive, but it could give them a trade.
Yeah, Ocean Drake also coming up in 5 seconds here, so this will give them priority on Ocean. They're already there. Kha'Zix with the Q involved, and the fact that he'll be able to reset it quite quickly.
Don't have vision, unfortunately. They might actually look for something, but I forgot they had 2 teleports. Bjergsen actually has his as well, but it looks like with
I think when you have the lead, you're okay with giving up that Ocean Drake. It's just an Ocean Drake. It's not going to allow them to like sneak a Baron faster with a Mountain or anything like that. You aren't really too worried about regen because you're a dive comp, not a poke comp. Or TSM are okay with giving that up.
Yep, and they do. P1 will take it. That's actually their second Drake of the game, but Mountain will be the next one on the table, so both teams probably looking with eyes wide open at that one. Lichbane finished for Bjergsen as well, so that damage is going to increase while Toto getting jumped on by Ryu. Bifrost going to protect him. Arrow is good. Fast bullet there coming in. Bifrost gets sniped. And Turtle still trying to fight Ryu, but Adrian's going to flash forward. Turtle gets himself out. Now Sven going to turn it around. Protobot pop. Adrian is in trouble. Haunter coming down, gets the kill. Bjergsen exits with the ulti. Sven goes down. And a Haunter trying to tank it up. Zig joins in as well. Committed the teleport to continue the play. Ryu is solo. He can't really rejoin the fight.
Haunter's just going to... Ooh, nice dodge from Zig there.
Bjergsen still wants it though, gonna dive.
Inori's coming in.
Ulted. That's a mistake. Arrow gets one. Haunter locked up. That should be two there. Inori stays alive and shuts down the top laner.
Like you said, when presented with an option, if it's safe or if it's going to be aggressive but could get you killed, Phoenix1 are going to take the aggressive option. They're not going to sit on their hands. They're going to try to make the game theirs and wrest it away from TSM and trying to do a Baron.
Yeah, Ryu again just stuck around and now going to look for this Baron. Inori takes out the crab. Zig's very tanky, able to make sure that happens, and Bio has to try something. Hook misses. Bifrost with good poke, but Arrow flashes in. Adrian's going to cut him off with a pass. Arrow now on a rampage as Bifrost, the only one really on this P1, a forced off Baron, but TSM keep getting killed.
Exactly. They have to get off the Baron though because Svenskeren came back up. Svenskeren has ultimate, and so if he would be able to get there quite quickly with the extra movement speed. Ryu, it doesn't matter who he's going after. He doesn't care. He gets arrowed in the face. That arrow's just accuracy. Biofrost is on the back side of the turret because that's where he was forced to go, and so he doesn't have much room to actually operate. Adrian goes down here, but Arrow in the middle of a fight has the crit up, hits Svenskeren, finishes him off, reloads, and he's actually just right up in front of everybody. Zig provides the peel with the movement speed slows.
Bjergsen tried to chase Ryu at the back end of the fight. Haunter also looked for the tank, missed that taunt, and it continues.
But this is awkward because they had the Ashe E go through, so it may have given them a false sense of security that they could kill them, but Zig's ultimate there, the knock-up, hitting both members is what allowed them to have the CC to turn. It looks like Svenskeren almost got caught there by, I believe, the Jhin ultimate, as Arrow has that on cooldown.
Yeah, Haunter helping him out though, manages to commit his ulti to shield him and ward away the rest of P1. P1 though, didn't get the Baron, but they are going to continue to try and push down this mid lane and even up that turret situation and the gold situation. Yeah. I don't think TSM can really do much here.
Exactly. P1, they're making these bold moves and they're getting a bit off of it, getting back into the game, but they're still down in turrets because of the composition. Echo now on the top turret. He has the Lichbane. He'll do a lot of damage to it, and it's hard to answer him with a Corki. So now they're trying to get multiple people here. He may have to TP away if they keep going up there.
Baron also a threat. You can see the pings for TSM. Wondering if they're there, maybe looking to take it. Haunter will move his way back down here, blast himself over and get lanes pushing. I mean, this is kind of where TSM's comp can come alive. P1 needs to play them carefully around the map because Shen, he pushes waves well with the tier map, but doesn't take turrets that well. Echo does both.
Yeah. Well, I will say now that he has the Titanic Hydra, he's doing a lot of damage to these minion waves, clearing them out. That Titanic Hydra active will actually clear out caster minions. When you hit a melee minion, it'll go through and actually just obliterate the wave instantaneously. And it's an auto attack reset for the turret too, so there's a little bit more threat now coming out of that Shen, who you can see is 2 levels up because of the fact that he just gets to split push the whole game. He gets to be a little bit more fed and have these CS falling into his pocket. He's almost 100 up too.
Bjergsen, you can see, just demolishes that wave. 2 Qs and an E. Able to take that down. He'll recall though and leave Ryu with the wave that's coming towards that tier 2 turret. Mountain Drake up in a minute 55, so another tension point about to open back up and some pretty big objectives on the table. P1 again sticking Arrow mid, clearing up whatever farm they can find that's safe, and there's still a turret behind, but the gold is even between these two teams.
And when we look at where that gold is, a lot of it is on that Shen. So he's got a lot of armor now. He's got a lot of, he's very fed. You can see Haunter, most gold in the entire game. So he's doing really well for himself, but that's not the damage. That's not the people who are going to be obliterating the backline. Whereas Arrow has his decent amount of the gold for Phoenix1, sitting at 4-0-1 himself. Down in CS, but he's been making those picks. He's making them worth it too.
Yeah, and you can see, Haunter now pushing in towards that tier 2. Bjergsen is stuck around to really continue to push that wave forward. TSM are forcing a lot of pressure in the longest possible pass on this side wave. In fact, Bjergsen looking for an all-in here.
Yep. You gotta split them up.
Yep.
Split them up, 1-3-1, and then collapse. And it actually opens up great opportunities for the team fight that comes in afterwards, because the Echo wants to enter and have that backline fight.
So the disadvantage, though, is that with the 3, you don't really have enough people to go in wards safely. So you can see P1 actually have complete vision on that left-hand side. It looks like Rengar's trying to chase someone down. Ryu's got the package. Arrow pops the Edge of Night, and no arrow forthcoming from Wild Turtle. Svenskeren hunting, but does not find prey.
So that was for seeing if there's anybody on the right side between Zig and where the mid lane is, because the Drake is about to come up. It's a Mountain Drake, and this is the one that people really want to fight for. If your 1-3-1 gets a Mountain Drake, that's a huge boost in the power that they have in just continuing to 1-3-1. Even if somebody dies, they'll take the turret much faster. They'll be able to actually pick it up. And we'll see what Phoenix1 decide to do with this, because this is a bit of a situation where you could really make a misstep here, and it could cost you the Drake, cost you the Baron. They have wards all over Baron. They decide to go after Hansar here, who's actually been pushing a little bit too far forward.
No vision, and Inori's going to find him. There's the knock-up, there's the snare. Arrow ulti hits Inori, that's nice. And now Bjergsen's down as well. They turn it around. Very impressive collapse from TSM.
And that arrow is what they needed there. Wild Turtle coming up big with that shot.
Ryu looking for Sven. Sven heals back up.
Yep. And now with the jungler down, TSM say, screw the Mountain Drake. They want to actually blow the game wide open, try to go for a Baron here.
Side of control in their favor also, but Ryu's being a nuisance poking them as they move towards the Baron. TSM going to have to do this pretty decisively.
Arrow doesn't have the ultimate either, so he'd have to get up close. Adrian's going to walk up, try to get access to the pit.
Total no, he might get 1v1, 1v2. Zig Death Edge United could help him out. TSM have to turn around. Adrian's going Arrow who's getting launched on by Svenskeren. TSM pull up the Baron at the last minute and take out Ryu. It's a shutdown Arrow as well. Zig gonna fall. TSM might get it all.
And TSM, they're low, but they take down 3 members plus Inori from before. Adrian is now one of the members of Phoenix1, who's in range to try and do something here, but it is going down swiftly. It's about 500 DPS though, so we have about 10 more seconds before this goes down. That's enough for Inori to get in there.
Arrow hits one!
He's in the pit!
In the pit! Trying to steal, they need to stop DPS, they do! That's Baron TSM!
They stop the DPS like you said. He's the only one hitting it. Inori cannot get it, and it goes over to TSM.
We talked about big breaking points. This is the breaking point of the game.
Yep, Adrian had used the ultimate previously. Arrow had used the ultimate. They have to walk up. They can't snipe people like Svenskeren out. Arrow has to flash away there. And Hansar, I said maybe he's not the guy doing backline DPS, but right there, he definitely was. So big points there for TSM. And you can see that catch really put them in a bind. And that arrow from Wild Turtle came up big.
Smart force from TSM. Kind of got everything. Got the jungler, went to Baron, forced the fight, and got the fight and the Baron. That's maximum for TSM, and now they're in such a strong position. They have a lead that P1 kind of had in Game 1. They won their big Baron fight. They're going to take them out in Drake as well. And now in position to look to close out the game. They're not there yet, but 5,000 gold ahead with this lead. Looks good. As Arrow just 2 shots and that's it. Yeah. Knows the pick wasn't coming.
A bit of a frustration ultimate there as well. Looking for something, because you can see the timer on the top side, bottom side. 1-3-1, best composition to have with the Baron buff, because even if you lose 2 members, you still have people on the flanks. You still have people on the sides getting you turrets, which will ultimately open up the game, push the enemy back, gives you gold, etc. And it's definitely worth more than kills. So all TSM kind of had to do is just brainlessly 1-3-1 and collapse into occasional 4-1s, and then they'll be able to get these outer turrets.
Well, if it should be simple, let's see how good it looks. TSM in a position to move the game forward and force another third. They've had an awful lot of 2-1 victories, despite how good their records are.
All of their victories are 2-1.
That's correct, actually. Their only loss is an 0-2.
Yep. TSM, all 2-1 victories. Phoenix1, on the other hand, though, all 2-0s.
Looking good. Turtle shoving the wave out, and looks like the team is going to stick together maybe a little more. And Nori, he's a prime candidate for an Ash Arrow. None forthcoming just yet. Bjergsen did take the top lane tier 2, so 4 turrets to 2 right now with mid lane being worked on, and even Hansar on the Shang with a lot of help from Baron is also a threat on the structure. So TSM doing exactly what you said, collapsing in all 3 lanes.
I also said brainless too. Really, they just have to push up and you'll get objectives here. And it's one of the best compositions for it because you just constantly buff up all of the minion waves. And sure, you could do that with any composition and just split up 1-3-1, but the fact that it is a normal 1-3-1 composition with teleports, with ways to reinforce and collapse if you want to do that. So you get to kind of run the other team around the map, get chip damage here, run to the bottom, get the chip damage there. So you get to keep all 3 waves in your favor.
Dirksen actually went for the turret. He gets himself hooked, but the parallel convergence is there. Rolls his way out of it and gets healed as well by the redemption arrow. Finds Zig. That's not the target they really want, but Arrow, he's out of bullets and he didn't do that much damage.
Yeah, and you can see the whole time, Hauntzer's pushing waves into the bottom side of the map. That's scary.
That's something. He's got on top of a ward. Like,
back to mid.
yep, and back
them around.
Just keep rotating. That's all they need to do. Bjergsen now pressure topside. The 3 have to be careful. TSM, though, back away. And this is exactly how TSM want to execute on it. Baron buff, not too much left. They need to do a bit more damage, but yeah, Hauntzer's doing work. And this is the problem. Just pulled apart across the map. Even in your base, which is a very tight space for you to walk through, you still struggle to defend all 3 lanes.
Yep. And Phoenix1, they now stare at TSM with a 10,000, almost 10,000 gold lead here. About 8 for themselves. The Baron buff is gone, so a little bit of a sigh of relief for Phoenix1. But the pressure is still on. They can't let up that much.
No, they can't. But all things considered, not losing an inhibitor turret is really good when you play against a Baron out team that's 1-3-1ing you with a comp meant to do it. So good defense there from Phoenix1. I will say, still behind pretty dramatically, but TSM need an additional step now to end the game. Usually, you break an inhib in one of the inbounce waves, you take the next big objective, and then you just push in and win the game, either from the fight or just having the Baron empowerment minions or the Elder Dragon empowerment helping you. Now TSM need another break in the game to push themselves into that final step. So a little further away than maybe they'd like, but still in a very strong position.
Yeah, the minions will definitely not be as tanky for them to actually continue to push up, but they definitely have the waves and they have the levels. So they have the 1v1 potential where Nautilus is never going to kill the Shen. The Echo is never going to get killed by that Corki unless something goes really wrong for him. And especially since he has Zhonya's now on top of it. And Bjergsen's just been having a wonderful game. And so is Haunter. Like this reminds me a lot of like the way that Cloud9 have been playing recently with Impact having 100 CS leads and split pushing, and Jensen in the mid lane also being on Assassins, diving in, and being able to split the enemy team apart. It's one of the best ways to play League of Legends right now. We talk about poke comps with Corki and Varus. This is the other way. Split them up, play them like a fool. Go for turrets over and over. Bjergsen.
Aggressive, doesn't pop any cooldown though. Feels comfortable-ish.
Oh, it's been scaring though.
He's got a flash, does do so. The rest of TSM gonna run away. It's Haunter working on Zig, but...
yeah, Zig has to take damage there or else the minions get to the turret and then Haunter just hits the turret and ignores him. So it's a right to stand that far forward and take a little bit of a beating.
TSM can't get anything done though. They're gonna recall, heal back up and kind of put their eyes to the next major objective. Elder Dragon 115, Baron 126, so 10 seconds or so behind them. Teams are going to have another big choice to make. Which objective do they want? Whereas the vision and what happens on the execution of taking the buff.
And they have Mountain Drake, so TSM will be able to take it a little bit sooner. And they have the luxury of continuing to 1-3-1 with their globals and then collapse on whichever objective they really want to. So Phoenix1 could actually be the ones to start an objective to try to get back in the game. But I think it's going to come down to TSM will be there first, and Phoenix1, if somebody missteps from TSM's side, they will try to make a pick, but making a pick against the Shen is becoming more and more close to impossible here.
And I think it feels the same way for the Echo, and the other side is that Bjergsen can kill you if you try and challenge him. Shen's going to annoy you, but Bjergsen's actually going to take you down with the Echo. So again, they picked for it. They're now going to reinstate the 3-lane pressure. They've got vision around the Baron. They're going to get a little bit around the Elder Dragon just to not get caught off guard, and Ryu's going to have to go answer. Topside, Haunter is already doing work versus Zig, getting that wave pushing. And again, TSM kind of need one thing to go right here. Whether it's a big fight against the objective, a pick that lets them push into a base, or simply a turret take, TSM don't need much more.
Yeah, TSM, they'll have priority here on the Elder Dragon. Ryu top lane, trying to shove it out so he doesn't have to worry about that wave. And it may just be a Baron for Elder Dragon trade, but there's a 5-second difference in these timers here. And you can see TSM, how quickly will they get out of this hit and try to fight, because that could be the make or break moment. And then Scarin pops the ultimate. He's going to try to rush in here. The DPS, does Phoenix1 have it?
Kind of caught Zig here, and they do have the DPS, but the arrow finds Adrian. Big amount of damage, but P1 took the Baron. They need to get out, but Bjergsen, he's arrived. Adrian is dead. And now Spencer is hunting onto Arrow. Brushes there. The exhaust is down. Going to turn it on as Ryu does good damage there to the Rengar. Inori going to get up scot-free as well. Oh no, Bjergsen committed his teleport. P1 are caught at all angles. Inori going to be chased down here. Biofrost going to help out. Arrow in the brush. Do they dare to check it? He's going to make it back with the empowered recall. It's a bit of madness here. It's Biofrost and Bjergsen try and chase down Zig, but Ryu's there to defend. Maybe more?
Didn't quite hit it there. They don't have anybody flanking.
What's up? Blocks for his teammates.
Wild Turtle in the mid lane pushing up, and Inori's trying to get that top lane. Yeah, 1-3-1 this! He just keeps pushing up.
Inori pushing.
I mean, everybody else on TSM was just past him, so he's like, this is my escape route, is to push. This is how he lives.
Doesn't keep going though, because he knows TSM are looking to break open the base. They may have Baron, but P1 could lose more here. Bjergsen back in. Just break that mid in here, but now they're going to look for the fight. Hansa finds it onto Zig. Svenskeren getting chunked though, and actually the ulti's down onto him. Bjergsen pulled there as well. Hansa goes in, but Arrow goes down to Span. Now Bjerg popping that, has the ultimate, has to use it there, but it's not quite enough damage. Can he zip out of this one?
Close.
Not sure he can. The last Q's enough. Ryu with the missile actually finishes it off. And TSM, they don't get an inhib and they lose a couple.
But those are 50-second death timers. P1 now have wave priority in mid, top, and they could get into bottom if they wanted, but I don't think they do. You want to get this middle inhibitor, that's our tier 2 turret, sorry. So flustered by that, because it's just the turnaround there. Svenskeren is just playing so aggressive when they can see him. You'll usually use the ultimate of Rengar to zone in that situation because you're going to get the turret. You don't have to kill them there, but the Elder Dragon also is close to wearing off for TSM. And this is going to be P1 pushing all the way down and trying to get this inhibitor before the respawns come through.
Yeah, Baron giving over is actually a huge mess for TSM, and keep in mind, that Elder Dragon take was not intended to be a trade. But TSM instead kind of mess up the portion of their next push. They get a couple picked off and they lose mid inhibitor, whereas that was TSM's plan in that last push down mid lane.
It's a bold call as well from Phoenix1 to just recognize, okay, the timer is just off enough that we would be able to get the Baron. And TSM, instead of pulling some people off of Elder Dragon early, they decide, okay, leave everybody there to DPS it down as fast as possible.
It's just funny to me how many carries are on a lot of these teams now. You mean we see damage from supports. Look at Adrian there in the Zyra. We've seen like multiple marksmen on a lot of teams in the poke comp. We've seen full damage or close to junglers as well. It almost feels like in some ways teams are relearning their average Baron timers for taking, because Barons are melting left, right, and center. We've seen like Snuck Barons, Trader Barons. They're just falling so fast. I think teams are still adjusting to that change.
Yeah, and you saw that Adrian just barely got caught, and everybody else had to kind of use their gap closers, get over the wall, flash over the wall, and get out. Where that DPS was a little bit deceptive because Ryu also had package, and he just packaged over the Baron, so the Baron was taking the intense amount of damage. It actually is a large amount of damage that the package does when you're on top of it. The ratios are pretty crazy.
Comparable to Rumble ult, certainly. So,
oh yes,
good usage there for Ryu. TSM, though, have managed to push their way back up towards this left side of the map, and Zig could be the target. They're going to ping on the wave they've got going, but Baron up for a smidgen longer. She just drops there for P1. Arrow finds Adrian. Rengar wants to pick. Bjergsen wants in as well, but he gets stunned up. Now they're staying united. They have to pull it away with the ultimate. And here comes Arrow, going to look for Wild Turtle. Hansa needs to be body blocking. There's the second shot.
Yeah, but Svenskeren off on the right side, going to go after the turret, try to take it down, try to get access to the inhibitor here.
No luck for Knife Cat. That turret's still standing, but the rest of TSM are coming. Sven gets to be out from under that first CC with the W, and now Hansa is going to frontline it. TSM going to look to break here. They get it. Bjergsen wants it. He's going for Ryu. Damage is good, but Bjergsen doesn't have anything left. He gets blown apart by Arrow. Zig loses his GA, but it's 4v4 right now. No, 5v4.
Yeah.
Only killed the fake part of Zig.
Yep. Bjergsen ended up going down there with 1,000 damage crit there from Arrow from what I saw.
That was a lot.
Just a ton of damage from that lethality build. That's the thing, you don't have to build that crit on Jin. He's got that fourth crit. Just treat it like he has 25%, right? And it does missing HP on top of it. That's an insane amount of damage there when he's ignoring so much armor from Svenskeren.
Let's find out, because that looked pretty messy.
It's like 1,100 from what I had seen. But we'll see it again here. Bjergsen jumps in. Damage on the Ryu gets exhausted.
Yep.
I don't even know if Inori got an assist on that. I don't think
11:25. He died before Nautilus Ultimate had the chance to CC him. Oh man.
Oh, sorry. Ignores the armor of Bjergsen. I said Svenskeren, but it was Bjergsen.
Yep. Well, that hurt.
Insane amount of damage there.
Bjergsen back in 5 seconds though. TSM did not get an inhibitor either. They've got 2 ones ready and open, but unfortunately they're the only one with an inhib down right now that will be respawning in a minute or two,
Yeah.
the TSM have to start worrying about the next Baron buff. And Elder Dragon, 5-6 minutes after that as well. P1 have kind of pulled the game to a point where even though TSM are up in gold, as always, as the game gets later, that gold lead starts to diminish in importance and how much it matters. So that value's going down, and P1 feel like they're in enough control that they might actually win this game.
Yeah. P1, we're approaching 6 items for a lot of members. And looking at the items as well, Zig, I like that he went for the locket. He went for the instantaneous shield to make sure that nobody gets blown up by Svenskeren or Bjergsen. And I think that's the right choice here, because you don't want the Kha'Zix building it.
You don't want this to happen either. Zig lost his GA, might lose his real life this time around. Zig still getting snared up, but P1 in to defend. Adrian going to try and turn it on with the Stranglethorn's big ult. He's not going to find anyone. No, Adrian getting jumped over to Nori. Around the other side, he's going to find Ryu. Bjergsen trying to stay alive as Svenskeren. Awfully low, goes down. Bjergsen lives with Haunter, still fighting 1v5. Redemption trying to come in to heal him. Spirit's Refuge just big heal there as well. Haunter, how are you alive? Gets himself slowed down, but he's out of the Cone for Jhin ultimate, and everyone on TSM and P1 magically live.
Haunter is just being a brick wall right now versus Phoenix1. That looked like it was going to go so sour for TSM, where Bjergsen got caught and Svenskeren got chunked out. Bjergsen didn't really have the ultimate available afterwards and just barely got out.
All right, TSM, they keep a lot of their summoners in that exchange, so they'll have that advantage if a fight's going to break out again. I thought maybe they were going to go back for a double TP re-engage, but have to deal with the side waves instead. Baron is up in 15 seconds, though. The teams will need to be prepared for that objective.
And there isn't an Elder Dragon to pull TSM away from this one, so Phoenix1 are ready to fight it and looking to fight it.
Oh no.
But Bjergsen, this is the move that Inori likes to make.
He's going to try and win this 1v1. Bjergsen with a big shield is going to get himself away. Still has teleport ready. And actually Sven's going to find himself caught out. He tried to pick off Arrow. But Arrow just does too much damage. And Turtle is caught. Zig, I say that in air quotes, as Bifrost absolutely caught by the rest of P1. Bjergsen needs to make a big TP play. Haunter is trying to fend them off for as long as possible. Bjerg, where does he go? He joins his team for the Baron.
Yeah, he doesn't have a good TP ward.
Haunter just forcing them away from the area, though. He's so tanky.
Yeah, he's actually ridiculously tanky. He's basically a raid boss now.
But P1, they're not panicking too hard. Svenskaren's dead for 30 seconds, so realistically, they're not going to be able to take the objective. Baron is alive, and TSM might set up vision for it, but they have to wait a while for Sven to come back. So P1 pull away, defend their waves that are pushing in. It's just top lane for now, as Inori wanted to be a hero once again.
Yep. A lot of damage comes through there, but flashes away and then collapses on Svenskeren to the... Oh my god, Arrow just... Okay, Arrow with the blast cone to, I believe, get a little bit out of range there. And then Biofrost out of position as well, and no GA left. And back of the pit, Ryu and Inori both in there. You know the Valkyrie has a long...
Oh, Arrow killed them. They're actually going to see them, but I think the Baron's going to die. They're not in there in time, and that's a Baron over. Very sneaky from Phoenix.
They're fast, though. They're very fast. Bjergsen has extra movement speed, and Svenskeren is tracking them.
Not going to find them, though. They'll make it back safely. They'll be spotted by the wave, and now Adrian going to get jumped on stage and added in. Haunter needs to make it happen. That's a good route. Adrian could be taken down. He does commit his ultimate and loses his life. Haunter and the rest of TSM can now push in for some turrets of their own.
Yeah, and inhibitors. This will be that last inhibitor turret, and all 3 inhibs are now exposed. There's Rock Portal up, but also access to that. Trying to just take it down and trying to get out.
Redemption, good heal. TSM get 1. They've got an opportunity if they can find another fight to maybe win the game, but that would be so risky.
Yeah, but Elder Dragon up in 40 seconds. If you're TSM, hey, we got top inhib. Adrian is down for 25 seconds. We have time to siege a little bit more, maybe get another inhibitor before he's back up with the numbers advantage, and then we have the ability to get that Drake, but now they're just zoning from the top. Inori knows where Svenskeren is, and he's providing pressure onto Arrow.
All right, that's the only other inhib TSM can take. P1 have done a good job shoving down the bottom lane minions, so TSM will have to back quickly to get to the Elder. Do they just maybe stick around, try and find a pick, and then take it?
I think you stick around and go there, because if you back, you give up control and they can walk straight to it, and now you actually just contest them actually getting vision of the area in the first place.
It's getting risky for TSM, though. Haunter doesn't have teleport, at least. He doesn't even have ulti right now, so he can't join if he wants to go back. And TSM are kind of scattered around the objective area. Bjergsen hit the B button. That's not the right one.
Now, this is where TSM, you just sit around for a bit, and you wait for those minion waves to crash into the base. You get mid priority. play to the left side of Elder Dragon. The Zerat portal top is actually providing a bit of pressure on that wave so it doesn't completely collapse, and that's going to be P1 starting up. Are they going to go 50-50?
They might. Sven's tracking in Norway, so they know the flank's not there.
But Sven is also on the bottom side, so he's looking for possibly Arrow here. That backline access, trying to deliver!
What's going in? They're walking for Arrow. Arrow lands in. Sven looking for Bjergsen, dives in on the team fight, and Adrian is getting torn apart by Turtle. Haunter still living for so long as Bjergsen trying to take out the carries. Adrian finally falls down. Haunter's going to lose his GA, but Bjergsen needs to kill the carries. Arrow firing away as Sven slays and Ori. TSM up in the team fight, looking to chase it down. Haunter flash on onto Ryu's going to take him down. The double for Sven. The wipe is there. P1 going to fall to TSM.
And a hard-fought game between both of them, but TSM are going to come up big in that last fight, and they're going to end the game.
Showed a little more gusto in the last few moments. TSM said no. We are not going to make the safe play. We're going to make a bit more of an aggressive one, and it pays off big. P1 had to do something about the Elder Dragon, and now they're going to lose it all. They're actually going to dive in, try and finish off the ace, but Nexus turrets are melting, and TSM, one more time, going to force a third game, this time versus Phoenix1.
And the last time that they played against each other, that was a 3-game series. And TSM, they want revenge. They want to be able to bring it back. Crazy game.
Fun series so far. P1 looked real clean, closing that out after that one big moment. A little harder this time around. TSM, I like the adaptation in draft, picking that really pure 1-3-1 comp, but also having some teamfight elements. They did need to do more than just a split push. We said that they were one step away, and P1 fought well to push them further and further back to the game was almost a coin flip. But TSM, they stayed calm, they played the map well, and when the moment came to find the big fight, they clutched it out.
Yeah, I think Shen was a big part of the entire composition of TSM. If you're looking at anything in this series, it's whoever gets Shen. You have a lot more priority in your lanes. You win most of those tank matchups. And even in the time that he was played against Jace, he just had more global pressure. So these teams looking at Shen and what's going to happen in the pick ban phase with that champion, because it is quite annoying. And we saw it wasn't just global pressure there as well. He was able to just dive the back line, deal a lot of damage. And I think Hanser played that incredibly well all throughout.
He did. And it's so funny to look at tank players and be like, oh, they're playing really well, because it seems like your job is so simple. And in some ways it is, but you need to be disrupting the right targets, landing CC when it matters. And it sounds dumb, but it is a skill to absorb damage.
I actually thought if you look at that very last team fight, that Zig was playing the best he could in that situation with the Nautilus. Bjergsen actually phase dove onto Ryu, and he turns, hooks him, makes sure that he's taking care of everybody on the front line of the enemy team, but also peeling for his Corki and for his Jhin. And I think that's one, if you're a tank player, you go back and watch what Zig was doing there. Even if he loses the fight, I think he's doing the right thing.
Certainly good-looking game for both the top laners, but for more on how TSM fought to bring this match to a game number 3, we're going to pass it over to Dash and Mark Z.